The list. So we asked thousands of CEOs and entrepreneurs and celebrities the same question over the last 15 years. What are the top 10 books that changed your life and got you where you are? Here they are. Enjoy. Book number 1, On Managing Yourself. Now, this is a nice red book by Harvard Business Review. Pick it up anywhere or on Amazon.com or your local airport bookstore even. Book number 2, As a Man Thinketh. As you can see, this copy I have is a classic. Book number 3, Think and Grow Rich. If you're an entrepreneur, you've read this book. Book number 4, you haven't read. The Everyday of Life by Miller will change your life. Book number 5, There's More to Life Than the Corner Office by CEO Lamar Smith of First Command, public company CEO for 2 decades. Book by C.S. Lewis, a legendary former atheist, now Christian. You've got to get this book. Book number 6, The Screwtape Letters. Book number 7, this is a gem that will teach you how to systemize your life. Book number 7 is The Compound Effect. Book number 8 by author and entrepreneur Stephanie Breedlove, All In. Book number 9, Business Ground Rules by Peter Thomas and Tony Geary. Book number 10 by the CEO of KPMG, Chasing Daylight. What would you do if you had only 60 to 90 days left to live? These are all books that'll help you with your business, but also with your legacy. Now, I've got 3 more bonus books if you're interested, but these are the list. The top 9 books that'll change your life in 2018. Enjoy. So here's a few takeaways from each of these books. So book number 1, On Managing Yourself. This book is from Harvard, and when I first picked it up in an airport, I thought I was going to learn a lot about business because it's Harvard, and I love reading the Harvard Business Review. But what I discovered is in the first chapter, it was titled, How Will You Measure Your Life? Wow. So that's everything that I'm about, is legacy. Every company I've ever built, everything I've ever done, every service project, every employee I've hired, every book I've ever written has all been about legacy. So this question is one we ask a lot. We ask it in our business every time we interview a CEO, and we also ask this question when we're at the Conversation Mastermind event. So, how will you measure your life? And in this chapter, it says, it's amazing that a significant fraction of the 900 students that Harvard Business School draws each year from the world's best have given little thought to the purpose of their lives. Wow, how about that? And then he goes on to say that, well, he gives you advice and he tells you what to do. How can you understand what the life purpose is for your own path and your own life and your own journey? He said, number 1, create a strategy for your life. And just like companies do, create a strategy for your life. But you've got to ask yourself some important questions first. So that was a nice surprise. As a Man Thinketh, I won't give you the breakdown of what I learned there because there's just so much. It's such a deep, deep book. You really have to look into it for yourself. This one is There's More to Life Than the Corner Office. So this book was beautiful because I was able to participate in writing it with Lamar Smith, who was a former fighter pilot turned CEO. Imagine being the CEO of First Command, a huge company, and then before that you're a fighter pilot. I mean, that's pretty amazing. So this book it talks about life principles like target fixation. That's a fighter pilot term, target fixation, when you get so fixated on something that you can't focus on anything else. And for fighter pilots, it leads to their death if they get focused on the wrong thing. And isn't that the way it is in our lives too? But if you look at some of these chapters in There's More to Life Than the Corner Office, he talks about integrity. And here's a quote. It says, this is really amazing. It says that, growth is, of course, an offshoot of proper planning, and that integrity is being the same on the inside as the outside, through and through. This book and another one that I wrote for First Command Corporation, they're the same kind of focus on mentor-mentee relationships. So it's a really successful executive in the book that has a mentor who is also successful, but he met him on the airplane, and I won't give you the rest of it. I won't give it away, but it's a phenomenal book. The thing I learned most from Business Ground Rules is, Business Ground Rules is 100 lessons for success, so you can kind of go to any lesson you want. I love the format, and I'm writing books a lot this way. I'm actually leading a lot of CEOs and entrepreneurs to focus on lessons instead of chapters, because it's a great way to do things. I love to read this way. It says you can't do a good deal with a bad guy. That's one lesson. So anytime I'm questioning a deal or I'm questioning somebody's integrity, I always go back to this lesson. You can't do a good deal with a bad guy. Tony Geary, Peter Thomas, two great guys that I was able to write this book with. And another lesson that I learned from this book is HLA, the concept of HLAs. High leverage activities will change your life more than any other activity. Now, a bonus book. So this is my own book, The Compass, which I wrote 100%, but I'm reading it this year. It was a movie. I haven't read the book. I wrote the book years ago. It was a movie with Les Brown and a lot of other people. I did not include it in the list because I thought that would not be, it sounds kind of self-serving. But I am going to read this book this year because I know that I was supposed to read it last year and didn't. But there's some principles that I put in the back. And I continue to get a lot of amazing letters from people all over the world about this book. I sold it to a lot of publishers. So The Compass, one of the rules is old pain is an anchor. And one of the things I've noticed with CEOs and entrepreneurs and successful people is that they don't have things anchoring them down. Not that they haven't dealt with things in their childhood. I mean, there's a lot of leaders that have, or divorce or breakups in relationships, but old pain is an anchor, and they simply don't honor and live in that stuff. And that's one of the lessons from The Compass. And there's so many gems in here that were just kind of downloaded into my spirit. I wish I could take credit for it. But they were just downloaded into my brain, and I went to Belize and wrote this book in the jungle. And there's so many great things in there that I learned myself. Overcoming the death of a dream. If you had a dream that you think died in you, do you want to resurrect that dream, or do you just want to let it go? It's an important book that really makes you think. The other book, KPMG CEO that was diagnosed with a brain tumor, Chasing Daylight. This book was given to me by one of my mentors, one of the top speakers in the world. And Chasing Daylight, the thing that most appealed to me about that book, or I should say intrigued me, isn't necessarily that he was diagnosed with a brain tumor. It's that, number one, he wrote a book. Who would do that? It takes so much time. I don't even think I would care. And number two, but he did. He cared about his legacy. And number two, he really unwound his life in what he called like this series of concentric circles. He drew circles on a sheet of paper, and he wrote his outer circle were acquaintances and colleagues, his inner circle were his closer friends, and then his little inner circle of his family and all the people in his life that he truly loved, he drew these 3 concentric circles, maybe more than 3, I can't recall. I'd have to go look at the diagram. It's in the book, but he drew them to determine how he was going to say his goodbyes. And one of the things I learned through that book is I would never do things the way that he did. So I love the book, but I didn't love his process. So I'll be interested to hear what you think. Love you guys. Hope you enjoy these books, and follow the World's Largest Book Club for more book summaries and information on books that can change your life.